And same as the last time, we're gearing up for legislative session, and there's two main items we're working on: detached ADUs and some sort of a state option for detached ADUs, and then the transportation utility fee bill is still being negotiated with some major parties, trying to figure out some language maybe in the Constitution or in the state code that would separate the churches from what they're concerned about, and that's, they still think it's a tax and not a fee, and afraid that that might jeopardize their
Interesting.
tax status. So anyway, they're working on that. We had meetings this week with the different parties, so just an update. More to come. It seems like that's all they talk about.
It is Tuesday, the committee's Tuesday.
Yeah, open.
But the open.
It's not necessarily an assignment, but my wife showed me this post on, I think it was Instagram, from Summit Dental, that's
Oh,
right
right
here
down
in the
here?
corner.
Uh-huh.
And they had a really nice video of the motorcade that came through, obviously, for the two fallen soldiers, the two fallen police officers. And they had, pictures of Layton City firemen on top of the truck. It was
Oh, cool.
great. So, you had a chance to see that. It's right there, right in our city. All of our residents are on that. It was just really good. So
That's good to
take
know.
a look at it.
Yeah.
It was great.
I did have one more. I got an email from Curling at Layton Youth Court. They're having their volunteer recognition and awards this Friday. They'll be here in the council chambers from 6 to 7:30. They always love to see any of us there.
Yeah.
So if you are free on Friday at 6, they would love to see you there. Clint pitched in. I don't think he knew last time that he was gonna have to have words, but he did. Clint Drake have words.
Oh.
So maybe if we're there, we can help him out.
Pass
Yeah.
along some.
Well,
This is the first I've heard of this one.
Yeah, he was like.
Do you wear robes?
Yeah. But it's fun. Kids nice.
Yeah, it's good for the kids.
See their parents, and the slideshow, the presentation that they show all the things that they've done the whole year, and they have their events, their activities that they go and they train to learn how to do all the jobs that they do. So yeah, that's really nice. So if you're free, come on out.
Just some feedback. Kim, obviously we had the election in between the last time we met. Had a resident just let me know that it was so easy to find all the information, and thank you for putting it on the website and allowing the residents to get a lot of their information straight from the city site. So thank you for all you did. I think they got the information we needed.
That's good. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Let's go ahead then and move on to a presentation and update on Utopia. Mr. Timmerman's here to actually do it himself.
Man
Thanks
himself.
for having me.
Yeah.
Is there an HDMI connector I can plug into or hijack here? Historically, that's where we plug in.
I failed to mention, which you might want to put it in the notes publicly, that Dave Thomas is asked to be excused.
Went dark, so that's promising. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Maybe. It'll be more entertaining if you get to see something other than just listen to me.
I think it's gonna work.
Well, it's not the fiber connection. It's not the-
Yeah, we already mentioned.
Oh,
wait,
that's
it's
a
on
good
the
lead
street.
in.
Yeah, it wants me to mirror here, so mirrored and mirrored again.
Here we go.
Come on, come on. Other PC. PC, I guess. Well, that better than what we have to show.
I don't know, it's hot enough outside lately.
It's supposed to be.
For a second. And then try this.
So waiting on yours. Is there anything on your screen?
Yeah, it's in the presentation though, but the text is framing. And it's changed my resolution to match your TV or whatever the text. Try to unplug and plug back in, secret great methods of IT. There you go.
Oh.
Same thing.
Oh, man.
It's there. Well, I guess I can talk you through it. Think how much patience we have here to try it.
How big is it?
It's like a 200 megabits, or megabytes. It's pretty big because there's a video in it. So that's not gonna work. All right, we'll just, I'll talk through it.
Try it, put it back up.
Oh. You wanna keep poking at it? It's a 200 meg file, so it's big. There's a video in it that I wanna show if we can get it to work. Oh, wait, come on, come back.
Like a wizard.
Ah.
Okay, let's see if it'll stick. Hey, all right.
We got a future.
Yeah.
Okay. We'd like to do a little bit of history because over time we have changes in city councils, so we won't do too much because most of you have been around a while, but just a little refresher. Utopia, you guys remember when it was created? Alex probably does. It might be PTSD from back then. Early years were a little rough.
Yeah.
It was 2002 it was created, and then they financed projects in 2004. So we've been at this for a little while. In 2004, there were 11 cities that bonded together, or backstop bonds, to build the first phase of the network, and then there was subsequent phases, and things were a little rough for a few years. But those were important years. That's when we built the backbone, interconnected the cities. So I have them red on purpose because those were tough years, but they were critical. And then 2009 is really kind of when we think there was that turning point. We saw that demand was growing really, really fast. We were able to build some networks and get really good subscriber rates, but we still had some debt from the past. But from there, we said, hey, we can finance and build new networks, and those can be successful. And as they're successful, we can get revenues that can help pay for the old phase too. So both bring the service that we believe is important and critical to our communities, but also it's good to pay the bills and improve the financial position of the organization and the cities that support it. A few things I want to bring attention to. Utopia is the largest open access network in the country. Open access is the model where you build the fiber network and then allow private companies to use it. We've continued to grow, and now we're also the largest municipal network in the country. We are over 250,000 locations now. Just keep
So
building.
you've surpassed any of the California networks that were up prior to Utopia then?
Yeah.
Awesome.
The largest, I mean, depending on how you count it, Chattanooga may be bigger than us, right? They have more subscribers and we cover more addresses, but we're catching them really quick.
Okay.
So they have us beat in that one, which is an important category of how many paying subscribers you have in the system. But we're doing a good job of adding customers, and I think we're going to pass them on that. We have the fastest speeds in the country. So these are the little number ones up here. It's kind of hard to see in the presentation. So number one fastest speeds in the United States, 10 gigabit to homes. So this system is built in a way that every address in the city can get a 10 gig connection today. Not everybody signs up for 10 gig, but that capacity is there. And on the business side, we offer 100 gig, but actually I need to update that slide because we do have 400 gig customers. University of Utah is on our network, and that is their backbone to the internet. And to internet too in Las Vegas. So we provide them with that. We provide connections for the state data centers. We provide connections for the school districts. We do a lot of really big, important connections. We don't do them because we're a charity. We do them because we like to pay our bills, and they do pay for those. So it's mutually beneficial when we work with other organizations, governmentals especially. We're the most competitive open access network in the United States, and what I mean by that is you've got 19 options. So you get that one fiber, you have all these different companies with different pricing and bundles or specialties that they compete anywhere else in the country. Usually you might have 1 or 2 options, 3 if you're really lucky. We have 19, plus you still have Comcast and others in the city. So you have more options for broadband than anywhere else in the country, except for the other Utopia cities, right? We're #1 in awards from the Utah Education Network over the last 4 years. So each year they bid out schools. Again, we don't do that. I mean, we care about our schools, and we probably would do it at cost or at a loss, but they expect us to bid in a competitive way, and it's subsidized by the federal government. So we win those, and when we win those, that means we're saving them money because we're the best price, but it's also revenue for our system. But we're very proud that we've been growing very quickly with schools across the state. Obviously, we do really well with the Davis School District because we cover a lot of their territory. We're #1 in providing air quality sensors in Utah. So if you look up air quality data on like KSL Weather or any of these other online platforms, you'll see that Layton and Clearfield and Centerville and some of these places where Utopia is built has a lot more sensors than other cities. And that's because whenever we deploy a network, we have these cabinets and huts, and every single one of them has one of these air quality sensors on them. We just kind of put them on there. We have the connectivity and the power. It's really easy to use that for smart city applications. And just by nature of doing that, we suddenly found ourselves providing more of that data than anyone else. We do other cool smart city stuff. I'm going to show you a little bit of that. I won't take too much of your time. I know I'm not the only thing on your agenda, right? Okay. We have a really good Net Promoter Score. That's a customer satisfaction metric. You basically ask people, we do surveys all the time. You say, how likely are you to recommend this to a friend or colleague? You probably get that question all the time whenever, for almost anything you buy. And we do really well. Most people would recommend us highly to their friends and colleagues. Options like Comcast are usually in the negatives. They say, I have it because I don't have any other option or something like that, right? But people really do like the service. We love seeing it on like Facebook and things like that, where somebody moves into the city and they say, hey, what should I do? And they almost get bombarded with comments. Oh, Utopia, you got to get this Utopia thing. Well, which provider? Oh, you got to get this one. These ones are good. And it's like every time someone asks a question, there's just a flood of information, and it's very positive. We love seeing that. We still value our marketing people, but it's hard. Like the best marketing out there is word of mouth and friends and relationships and people's experiences. So we love seeing that happen, and we don't want to mess that up. We're always trying to be vigilant to keep the service up and being the very best. We have a really good Google rating score, and we'd love to bump that up high, but you can't find any other broadband providers in the state that are that high. Even Google Fiber is lower than that. So we're very proud of our Google rating score. So let's just do a couple things. Let me get my steps in here. So this is just the kind of the model of where we have this open access fiber, and these are all these companies that use the system. And we get criticized sometimes, like at the legislature, where they're like, why are the cities going in there and competing with the private sector? We're like, you guys fundamentally don't understand what we're doing. We're enabling the private sector. Like, none of these companies would be able to offer service in your city if it weren't for the city infrastructure that we put in. And they all love us, right? And they're able to not just compete, but obliterate, the monopoly or the incumbent cable and other options, right? So both, we're having an awesome service, we're supporting local companies, but the money that they make is reinvested in the local community, right? This isn't for shareholders and of some giant cable corporation. These are local companies here in Utah for the most part. Some of them are regional, but we have a lot of allies in the private sector. They love us because we're enabling them and supporting them. thank you.
Yeah.
This is this is trying to provide some updated information. We update the network. So when we come, this isn't the same slide. We're always having to notch up things and update some numbers because we have been improving this network over time. This is the third or fourth generation of technology that you're on today versus when we built the original part in 2004. So when we first started, we actually had a 10 megabit offering, and people thought that was really awesome. And now our minimum is 250 megabits, and our maximum is 10 gigabits. So obviously we have to replace devices, but that fiber that was installed back in 2004 is the same fiber that we use for the newest connections. It's good now, 20 years later, and it's probably good for another 50 years or more. So that's the beauty of fiber, is it's very future-proof. And so when we have these long-term bonds, we're like, hey, this is great, these bonds will get paid off, and it'll still have life for a very long time and benefit many generations in our communities. The numbers on here, we've got 10 gig to every connection. I compare this even just to other fiber options. Even as you get other fiber options in the city, this is a superior system, even though they may come in with a brand new system. They use PON systems, which is shared. So everybody gets little time slots, and it kind of combines all the signals for the neighborhood into one fiber connection. We run a fiber all the way from our core effectively out to every single home. So if your neighbor is a bandwidth hog, you know, they're downloading lots of stuff, or they're a gamer or something like that, and they're hogging that connection, it doesn't affect you at all. And that's for residents, it's for businesses, it's for the city facilities. Like you never have the slowdown. If it's a slowdown, it's probably maybe the server, or the service you're accessing, but it's never the Utopia fiber network. And other systems, for example, I keep throwing Google under the bus. I'll pick on Quantum Fiber, but they both use the same architecture, which is a XGS PON. They launched that saying, hey, we could do 10 gig too. But it's 10 gig to the entire area of potentially 116 customers. And they realized, well, we can't share it and still sell that like at 10 gig. So they stepped it back and said, okay, how about 8 gig? And it's only 8 gig at 3 in the morning when no one's using it, right? It's maybe a couple hundred meg during peak hours, right? That sort of situation never happens on our system. You always get your 10 gig, you always get your 1 gig, whatever tier you signed up for, it's always there and available to just you. So it is a far superior system than any other. Okay, this is a new slide. I wanted to bring attention to this. That other network I mentioned in Chattanooga, they had a study done on the economic benefit of having a municipal fiber network. Like, that's awesome. And so the university there went and looked at all the different aspects of property values and savings for the city and investment in business and even just dollars people save. And there's a lot of good takeaways. Now, that's this bottom one, but let me go into the basic ones here. These ones are really easy to defend up here. So we basically look at it and say, the most common thing that people have from Comcast costs about $109 a month. Our service is faster, more reliable, and better. But if someone is on our network instead of their service, they're saving $29 a month. We have 9,652 residential subscribers in Layton City right now. And if you're to think of that annual savings times that many subscribers, we're saving the residents $3.3 million every year. That's enormous. I mean, you think of the money that is being spent on other things, or just people not being able to get by, and the difference that makes to these households. And think of that over 5 years or over 10 years. I mean, we're at it for 20 years here, right? Like, this is a significant financial benefit to the homes and to the households in our communities. The businesses save some money too. We don't have quite as many. We have 544, which is a good number. This is extremely conservative because we're assuming they're saving about $50 a month, but typically it's more like 100 to 200, but there's a lot of variability there. So we say, we'll just go really conservative with that number. But that's, I mean, we're at 3.6, almost $3.7 million of savings to the homes and the businesses in the city every year. So that's huge. That's just dollars in savings for broadband. Now we go into the study of like, what are all the other benefits that kind of come into the community? And there's a link, and we'll send this to you, so if anybody wanted to really dig into all the categories of benefit. But we look at the ones that apply, like they had a smart grid savings because they have an electrical utility. We're like, we're not gonna count that. We're not gonna count things that may not be applicable. But we're counting the ones that are applicable and sizing that to Layton and doing comparisons. And over a period of 10 years, the value applied to Layton of economic benefit, $461 million. That's incredible. I mean, even if it was half that, that's enormous. So anyways, we'd encourage you to look at that. It's really interesting to see all of the ways that having better broadband and community benefits people, not just quality of life, but even just financially and in all that investment that happens. So that's some new information that's become available. All right, let's talk about subscribers. This is Utopia and our partnerships. We talk about those 23 cities, but we actually have fiber in about 100 cities. It's 23 citywide projects, but we do a lot of, like Davis School District, for example, we connect to almost all of their stuff, even outside of our citywide projects. So the ones in like Kaysville and these other cities, we do connect to schools and businesses. But across the whole system and all of our partnerships, we're at about 77,000 subscribers now. So it's a lot of growth. 10 years ago, it was about 14,000 or less. Next slide. This is by city. You guys get the award. You're at risk of losing that maybe in a little while. But right now, it's a solid #1. Idaho Falls has been going crazy, and there's some uptick there with Orem at the end that actually does turn up a little bit. They've been pretty strong lately. But they're larger cities, and then you see West Valley is bumped up a little bit too, and they may eventually, 5 years in the future, overtake you, but it's a good friendly competition, right? Like to see growth across the board. We'll go to the next slide. This is Layton specific, so this goes into a little bit of the history of the build. Even though you were one of those founding member cities, remember we didn't have the money, it was all kind of phases, and the city didn't get built immediately. This is the number of addresses where the service was available. So this represents construction and build out of the system. So not very much had it all the way up till about 10 years ago. And then we were able to do some incremental. And then we did a partnership where Layton said, you know what, we know the demand is there. This kind of proved, the customers that came on here proved that the demand was there. And there was an additional guarantee from the city to basically move you to the top of the line and get the thing done.
Yeah.
That happened right here. And then the next slide shows you what happened with the customers. So obviously they were coming on, it came on pretty strong there, and then once the whole city was built out, they came on very, very strong. And so that pushed us up over 10,000, and the only city that's gone over 10,000 subscribers so far. We'll have some more of those soon. Usually we wouldn't show this level of detail, but we're like, pretty much everywhere has it. Every neighborhood, every other house or so has the service. The blue dots are the businesses and the red dots are the residential. And as you can see, it's very, very popular across the city. When we compare this, we've had other cities bring this up, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to steal that and use that when we talk to other cities. But they say, this is the most popular service we offer as a city. And we're like, well, what do you mean by that? I say, well, this is optional. None of these people had to sign up for this. It's always been voluntary. And from a recreation center or a park or a golf course or whatever, you think of how many people are using that, right? And this is a service that everybody's using every single day that they chose to sign up for, and they're paying for it. It's very, very popular, right? And maybe that holds true in Layton as well as being the most popular service that the city has provided. But it's a kind of an interesting way to look at it. We continue to update things. I mentioned we update the technology of the system, and then also adjust pricing and offerings and things like that. So we do have a new 2.5 gigabit tier that wasn't here available last time I met with you. And that's actually been pretty popular. 10 gig seemed like a little out of reach for some people and too expensive. So we did lower the price of 10 gig. And the devices we use to provide 10 gig have actually gotten less expensive. So we've been able to lower the price for 10 gig and then also introduce a 2.5 gigabit tier We're seeing an uptick on that, but 1 gigabit is still by far the most popular, even though there is a 250 meg. I mean, so that's another interesting data point. It's not just about cost. People are actually choosing that gigabit tier more than the lower cost option. And our most popular provider on the network is actually our most expensive. So people are seeing value in having providers with reputation and reliability. And I think mostly it comes to recommendations on Facebook and things like that.
So tell us the numbers, cost-wise then. And some of the basic service is $30, but if they go for the 2.5 gigs, what does that jump to?
So our wholesale rate is 45. I don't know what the retail rate is. So the service providers will mark it up like another $40 or so. And so I think 2.5 gig probably comes in at about 110, 120. The gigabit options about 80, 85 in that range, depending on the provider you pick. The 250 meg is, I think it's like 68 or something like that, 65, $68. So I mean, again, there's 19 options, so I can't remember the full range of where they land, but some are on the low end, some are on the high end. And then there's bundles with some of them offer phone and video options, things like that. We keep adding improvements to help our providers be efficient, help the customers be more efficient. We're quicker and faster with like disconnects and reconnects, and trying to make things better when customers have to interact with us. And then we just keep continuing to upgrade the network. I mean, it's painful when we have to buy that new router and that new big thing to put in our core to keep up with the demand, but people are using it more, and that's great. And even in places where we've had the service for a very long time, our take rate grows and goes up and up as more and more people recognize the need for that. There was a presentation I attended recently. It was actually from Comcast, and they were showing like the biggest days of the internet ever, right? And it was like, well, what does that mean? Well, there'd be like a Fortnite, new version or a tournament or something like that, and they release it, and more people were online using more bandwidth than had ever happened in the history of the internet, right? And it was a new record, and that happened in the last year. And of the 10 biggest days for internet use, they were all in the last 2 years. And they were predicting a new record was going to be coming when, I guess there's an NFL game internationally that's going to be on YouTube for free. And so they're just like, that's going to set new records because everybody wants better quality video, they have better broadband at home, and so it's just like people are demanding more, using more, and newer and cooler things are coming out. I know that's just watching football, but you want that 4K high definition version of it if you have the TV for it, right? And the bandwidth for it. It does use a lot of bandwidth. There's a lot of other cool things that use bandwidth that are starting to get traction, like virtual reality and augmented reality, and artificial intelligence is a huge one. It's coming in a big way, where you can have so many of your devices kind of being watched. It seems Big Brother is being watched or being controlled. Like just think of having your if you have security cameras and stuff around your house, instead of just like, oh well, I got robbed, let me go look at those cameras. You effectively have a system that's watching that and identifying, well, that's a dog, or that's a cat, or that's a burglar, right? And knowing exactly what's going on and watching that with intelligence 24/7 to keep your home safe, right? Well, that's got to be talking to the cloud. It's got to be talking to AI systems that are analyzing that. And so the ability to do better and cooler things is there, but it needs bandwidth that's not just there, but it's got to be reliable, it's got to have low latency, and obviously a lot of capacity. So, but yeah, some people are like, I don't want all that AI stuff.
It blows mine.
So one of the smart city applications that we have is, we call it the Edwin Project. It's actually an acronym. It's like Early Detection Wildfire Imaging Network. I think I got that right. And we installed one of these cameras in Layton, but the one that's been interesting this last week was one that we had installed in Orem, because it had a view of the fire in South Provo. And it was actually not a very good view because it's kind of focused on Timpanogos, but we were able to steer it over and look at the video. So this is actually a video. Let's see if I can get this to work. So the image on the left is optical, and this is a thermal camera. So when it gets dark or there's smoke or whatever blocking the view, you can still see very clearly hot spots. And if I zoom this camera out, you realize it's actually really, really, really far away from this camera. But these cameras have an amazing zoom, and they actually have a thermal zoom, which is really cool science because it can't use lenses and things like optical cameras. But it can still give you an effective zoom on that. These are pretty cool cameras. Let me see if I can get this to presentation mode here. Give me trouble on all of this. It's asking me how I want to do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's still doing repetition. Oh, here we go. So this is the website. This is actually the live view right now of that camera. And we have one here. This is over at Valley View. And so it's scanning all the time. If you were to go over there, you see this thing up there, it's just sitting there going back and forth like binoculars, yeah. And this was a research project by students at BYU to actually build all the analysis over here to try to identify, automatically identify if there was a fire or not. And when you think of thermal images, you usually think of like the red and the oranges and the whatever, but it's actually the black and white that gives you the intensity levels. I don't think the detection works. I mean, it was very experimental, but when there is an incident, we can stop that camera, zoom in, and actually get very useful information, because you can see hot spots and other things where you wouldn't see that optically or just looking at it. We don't know that people have used this much. It's experimental, but it's just kind of a cool demonstration of what can be done when you have a fiber network and applications that can use that. Looks like we might need to clean the lens on the thermal side there, it's kind of blurry. But anyways, just a fun example. You guys could always look at this if you're ever interested. It's publicly available. But we got a bunch of different cameras out there that watch different mountain areas. One's in Blue Hills. It's over in Murray. It's on our building. But we got a couple more of these we're planning to put. We've got one going in Payson, another one in Brigham City. Oh, actually, that was my last slide anyways. So we're real happy with how things are going. We think that it's been a great value for the city. As I kind of showed some of that data and through the surveys and everything we do, people are expressing a lot of support. We keep getting more and more signups. One question that would come up would be like, well, how does that affect us as a city? Actually, there was another slide I want to show. It talks about that. Let's see, I might have broken things. Oh, it was there.
He's not sharing his knowledge.
I don't know how Zach did it.
Yeah, the magic touch. Yeah, it comes up for 1 second. And it's gone. Well, so the structure of the financing for the organization is that UIA has financed a lot of projects and built those networks. That was what finished most of Layton and most of the other cities too. And those projects have all paid for themselves from subscriber revenues. Then we keep having more installations, so we issue more debt, we pay for those installations, there's new revenue to pay the new debt. So we haven't come back to the city saying, hey, we don't need any new backstops for any debt, because it's all kind of self-sustaining. We're growing customers, we're getting new revenues. But we have the old bond payments. The city is still paying the bond payments. And the structure of that is actually that the city, it's Utopia's debt, but it's a loan agreement from the city. The city loans us the amount of money that we need to make those bond payments, with the intent that we pay you back someday. And I think you probably don't account for it that way, because you're like, you know, who knows if this will ever happen, but we strongly believe it will. And as we continue to improve our financial position, we're starting to make more and more of that payment every year, so that you're not seeing increased payments year over year. The actual structure of the debt is that the payment goes up every year, but that has stopped.
It was 2% per year.
Yep, hey, you remember, you've been around long enough.
I allowed that, all of that, yeah.
So we're paying more every year, but the city isn't. It's making the same, the last few years it's been making the same payment. And we would be able to pay more, except that our bond payments, the amounts due have gone up pretty dramatically over the last couple of years. Next fiscal year they don't, though. It goes up just a little bit. And if we're able to continue the same momentum that we've had, then we'll dramatically be able to increase the amount that we're paying. So right now we're paying about 30% of those Utopia bond payments and 100% of the UIA bond payments. So we're hoping to take that 30%, start growing that faster than just the 2%. Go, hey, let's maybe do 35 and 40 and 60 and 80. And absolute worst case situation, if we never get to the 100% there, that bond payment does end. We got about another 14 years on that.
Isn't it
It was a
2040?
33-year refinance in 2008, so whatever that math comes out to. 25 years, or 15 years left?
I thought it was 2040. In my mind,
2040.
I remember that.
It's around there. So anyways, when that day comes and we say, hey, now there is no bond payment, well, we continue to collect the revenue from the customers, and instead of making a bond payment, we pay the cities back. So there is a future that's very good financially for the
Does
city.
that go to the original, so there was
Yeah,
original
only the cities that
15,
have
it's only
paid.
the last 5 that stayed in, right?
What?
When you say you're gonna pay them back, define, no,
They.
they, who's they? Was it the,
It's
the original?
10 of the 11.
Is it the
Not
original?
Payson.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Payson didn't participate in the refinance.
so the first 11 cities is what you're saying?
Yes, Payson's in a little different structure, but 10 of those 11 cities will be getting the payments back.
Okay.
And then at some point, we've paid enough back to those 10 cities that then you're at the same level as Payson, and then Payson comes into the fold, so that eventually the balance is off. Now, you get paid back with interest too, so our books look terrible. Now, the reality is that money was spent a long time ago. It looks like we're
Yeah.
accumulating debt, but what it is every time there's a bond payment, you're effectively loaning us the money, and so our books look bad, because then we accrue an obligation to you, which is real. And you know, like I said, one way or the other, we're making really good progress on that year over year, but there will be dramatic increase. You know, there's different levels of dramatic. There will be a big increase in a couple, you know, in next fiscal year, we should be able to turn that a little more aggressively. And then at 15 years or 2040,
Then
then
it
it
will be dramatic.
be dramatic.
That's what, yeah, got it.
One thing I'll say about Roger, just being in these meetings, the board meetings, is that there was a competitor that was going out and knocking doors, and there was worries that, you know, they were taking some of the customers. And it was nice because Roger's comment to that was, we're gonna be doing some of that as well, but we gotta make sure that we keep these guys on a leash, and that's a nice way of saying it, a mean way of saying it. But basically, like, we have long-term goals here. We're not trying to get a couple more subscribers on this street and ruin our reputation. It was all based on, we have to think long-term, and if this isn't something that's working out for us, we're not gonna move it. And I was just impressed with that, because you kind of carry all of the cities, particularly those of us who started as from the beginning, carry our reputation with you as Utopia. So I just appreciated that. It wasn't about the next sale, it was about, is this something that's beneficial to Utopia and all the cities who've trusted in us, that this is gonna be good moving forward. So just wanted to say that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we have implemented some door-to-door marketing, people knocking on doors, and they're like, oh, we hate that, people playing and they, whatever, and we're like, okay, this is a little bit different, this isn't pest control, this isn't, I don't wanna offend anybody, it might be pest control or security. And Utopia has done this badly in the past. There was a bad experience in Brigham City, and some in Centerville with high-pressure door-to-door sales, and generates a lot of complaints, reputational damage. We decided to revisit that. We started it in our partnership with Bozeman, so that way, like, if it doesn't go well, it
Okay,
doesn't,
yeah.
it's not even our brand. It went really well. People are pretty excited to talk about broadband when they hate their current broadband provider. And if this is gonna save them money and give them a better option, it's pretty well received, but it can still be done in a high pressure way. So we are very regularly meeting with these people, and every single complaint gets taken seriously, and we have fired people off of the team when we get too many complaints, and they know that's coming, right? So it's a very light touch sale, very friendly. And as we've done it, if you were to look at the chart that shows the individual city growth, you'll see these bumps in there. You'll be like, oh wow, suddenly, West Valley was putting on 200 customers a month, and they've never had that. The best month they ever had in the past was like 30 or 40. So how did they get 200 a month for over 3 or 4 months? It was the door-to-door sales of the team. How many complaints did we get? Because I kind of warned the city. It's like, I want to know about these, right? And I think we got one complaint that got to the city in West Valley City. That's a huge city. Orem got none, and Murray and Midvale got none. So
So do you plan on going back through, based upon your map, and see where there's a good take rate within the stretch of a neighborhood and see the onesie-twosies? Are you hitting
Yep.
those?
Yep, absolutely. It's very targeted. I mean, if you have the service, we're not going to knock on the door. We know exactly who has it and who doesn't. And it's a light touch. We haven't done it in Layton, but we are planning to.
You probably should,
and-
because I will tell you, just north of me, there was 3 people in that neighborhood who were with the competitor, and I kind of let them know how much cheaper it was and what they'd save and more gigs they'd get, and sure enough, they switched.
Well, thank you.
Even though I don't get my $10 now, but I mean, it doesn't matter, I'm still promoting it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's very effective because it's like, no matter how much marketing we do and how many banners in the city facilities and how much Facebook, whatever, there's still some people that don't get reached, who don't know about it. And all they know is, well, I used to have Comcast where I used to live, and I moved here, and I'm assuming that's the only option I have, right?
Yeah,
So
they don't know.
there's still just a lot of people that the only way to get a hold of them is somebody knocking on their door, and if somebody kicks them off their doorstep, we're like, that's fine, kick them off the doorstep, right? Like, abuse them, but if the salespeople are being rude,
Yeah, that's a
we
different
will
story.
pull back very quickly on those reps.
Okay.
So anyways, we haven't started that in the city. We'll give you a heads up. Like, okay, it's coming, and mostly that's because it's like, we want you to tell us if there's any complaints
Mhm.
from it. But it's been a really good way to grow our revenues and get, it's good in multiple ways. I mean, one of them is like, we want the revenue from those customers, but it is helping those people, right? Back to the point of, if they're saving $30 a month and it's better service,
Yeah.
they should want this, and they don't know about it. Like, it's outreach, right? So we call it outreach instead of sales, but
Right.
it's both.
Well, thank you, Roger, that was good.
Any questions, complaints, anything we can do? Oh, and I have to give a lot of thanks to Alex. He's the chairman of the board, Utopia, and Zach is on our board as well, the UIA board. And so we take a lot of their time with all these board meetings and stuff like that. But Alex has been an anchor to the organization from its inception, and there's been tough times. I mean, I think it's been relatively simple lately, politically. Everybody's like, what's so popular, doesn't make a lot of sense to cause trouble with it, but it has had some difficult times in its history, and it's successful largely because of Alex and his efforts. The whole organization at Utopia and the other cities appreciate him and his leadership. And we appreciate Zach.
I'm gonna
He's been very great.
I'm gonna
Alex
back
said
you up
that.
and say, in addition to that, we had a very strong council back then
That
that
is true.
really kind of pushed for getting the build out here. And I think that made a difference as well. So I'm saying thanks to the past council
Sure.
on that. Okay.
Thanks,
But
Roger.
thanks for letting us abuse him, because we do use a lot this time. He's awesome.
Alrighty, that was a good presentation. Yay, Lieutenant, you get to come up next. We're on to item number 4, and, yes, thank you again, I appreciate that, so.
Well, I don't have a presentation. Nobody wants to see a cop try to work IT. So first and foremost, thanks for allowing me to come take some of your guys' time. My name's Clint Bobrowski. I'm one of our police department administrative lieutenants, but I'm also the commander for the North Davis Metro SWAT team. So Resolution 2542 is an update to our current interlocal cooperation agreement. And it does a couple of things. So the first thing it does is it adds the Davis County Sheriff's Office as one of the member cities. So total, we have Clearfield City, Clinton City, obviously Layton City, North Salt Lake City, Sunset City, Syracuse City, and now the Sheriff's Office. And so they've recently asked to come aboard. The second thing it does is it creates a specific budget. So the SWAT team, as far as North Davis Metro SWAT's, have been operating for about just over 10 years on its current interlocal agreement. And the way that first one was set up is each individual agency that supplied manpower only paid for the equipment of their manpower. And so Layton City was paying not only for the equipment, but also for all of our expendable, I'll just call it equipment, but munitions and all the things that the SWAT team needs to do. Under this new interlocal agreement, the budget is set up so that all participating cities are now compiling all of their money into one. And so that Layton City isn't spending all of the money on robots and all of those things that this council's been awesome to supply us. We're now having a little bit extra help from all of the cities that we're supporting as a Metro SWAT team. And the last thing that it does is it sets up an executive board with all the agency heads from the participating cities. And I can get into kind of how we broke down the funding and how it works, because there's two different mechanisms, if that's something I see Bettina's shaking her head. So the way that we set up the funding was kind of two-tiered. The first tier was for agencies that supply manpower to the SWAT team. Essentially, we broke down and we went item by item for what an individual SWAT officer needs, from vests, helmets, communication headsets. I mean, the list is pretty long and pretty expensive. And so what does that cost? And then what we did is we looked at the expiration date. And I know you guys are aware our ballistic vests expire. Well, a SWAT officer's ballistic vest is a lot more than your traditional patrol officer, because we have rifle protection. And so we look at that, it's a lot more expensive, and they still expire every 5 years. The ballistic helmets that we wear expire every 10 years. Our communication headsets have been going out about every 3 years. And traditionally what we did is when it was done, we came to the council and we had a large ticket item that we were requesting. Under this new structure, we're saving up for that year for year, and all of the participating agencies are putting into that, and then we're saving it. So it's gonna bring a cost savings to us specifically here in Layton City. The other fee structure is for agencies that don't supply manpower. Similar to what we do with the Narcotics Task Force, it's an assessment fee based off of population.
Yeah, that was good.
And Layton will still be the kind of fiscal agent, so to speak, of that?
Yep, so I'll still be the commander of the SWAT team, so Layton City will still be running and maintaining it, and then Layton City is the fiscal agent for that.
Why wasn't the sheriff's office part of this before?
They've gone back and forth. So really, when we kind of started the Metro SWAT movement, 10+ years ago, and then Bountiful, who also had a team, followed suit, and there was kind of this natural division between North and South. And so we have a North Davis Metro SWAT team and a South Davis Metro SWAT team. And the county has kind of moved back and forth. For a while, their tactical operators were on the South Davis team, and their crisis negotiators, which is a part of SWAT, were on the North Davis SWAT team. As of recent, most of the areas that they patrol are in the north end of the county. And so the sheriff's office decided it made more sense that all of their SWAT personnel moved over to one team. So nothing against either jurisdiction or teams. It was just kind of a good move for them, and it made sense.
Yeah, that's good. You guys all work together anyway. Whenever a crisis or anything's been there, I've seen all of you come together and handle it, so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
You said it also forms a governing body. I don't know if governing body is the right phrase, but how did that work previously without that?
Yeah, so we call it an executive board, and so it'll be the agency head, so chief from police departments and the sheriff. Prior to that, it was just Chief Swanson who was over that. And so now it creates that executive board where as each agency is putting money into it, their agency head is on that executive board or voting member. It creates that kind of, all of the cities are contributing, everyone kind of has a say in our bylaws and our standard operating procedures. And it really builds a metro SWAT team.
Great.
Equal votes. I can see that.
I do want to point out Jaden back here. I handed her a napkin with basically chicken scratch with crayon, my first
Oh, you did.
MOU, and so Jaden took that and she worked with all of each agency's attorney's offices to really get this MOU that you have in front of you, so thank you, Jaden.
Thank you, Ed. Good job. Okay.
I haven't been in a meeting with 3 Clints.
I almost started out with that. and
I don't know.
That's why I
We
said,
should take a
okay,
picture.
I'm gonna go with lieutenant, because it's like Clint, Clint, Clint.
That's interesting. Okay.
No, this is great.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate all your help, and
It's like his
especially
name is
putting all that
Ryan or
documentation
something.
together. That's good.
Thank you guys for your support. Really, you guys have been incredible for us, and I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yep, no,
Thanks.
you protect all of us, so we appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. That was quick and easy. Okay, let's go down to the rezone request, and Weston's gonna present this one.
Okay, I'm gonna go through this fairly brief. This is a rezone request. This came from the applicant, who is the business owner as well as the property owner. It's currently zoned CH. He's requesting it to go to M1, which is allowed in the general plan. He has a business here that does not comply with the current CH zoning, and so he's going through a rezone so that he can obtain a business license and get the proper screening and requirements put in place so that he can continue to operate his business there. Planning Commission reviewed this and recommended that the property be rezoned. Be happy to answer any questions.
Was this as a result of like enforcement action?
It did come through code enforcement, yes.
You're still in my thoughts.
And the business owner has been good to work with.
Good, that's good to hear.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, that means there's good information in the packet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, that brings us down to item number 6, which is a closed door session, so, based upon that, once Kim kinda.
I need to have a motion, a second.
Okay. Layton City Council meeting this evening, which is August 24th, and I appreciate your patience as far as our posted start time and when our actual start time is, which is 7:06. As customary, we like to, we'll start out with prayer and a pledge for our meeting, and we take turns up here, and tonight it is my turn, so if you wouldn't mind, I'll go ahead and start with the prayer and then ask you to join me in the pledge. Our Father in heaven, we're very grateful to be here this evening, to be able to act as a governing body in the best interest of the great city of Layton. We're grateful for the abundance of beauty we have that surrounds us, and with the mountains and our reservoirs, and we're grateful for the many people that contribute, both personally as well as professionally. We thank Thee for the opportunity to be able to make the right decisions, knowing that these decisions will impact future generations. We ask Thee at this time to please bless us to act in the best interest of all of those concerned. And we dearly pray for the safety and well-being of everyone here, and ask for a special blessing to be upon the school kids as they've started their school year this past week, but we pray that they'll be protected going forward, and including all of the crosswalks and any type of motor vehicles taking them to and from school. We thank Thee again for everything, and we say this dearly in Thy name, Jesus Christ, amen. Okay, would you mind standing and follow me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. Council, I bring before you two sets of minutes. They were from the July 17th work meeting and also the regular council meeting. Does anyone have any corrections on that? If not, I'd look for a motion to accept as written.
I move that we accept the Layton City Council work meeting minutes from July 17th, 2025, and the minutes of the Layton City Council meeting, also July 17th, 2025, as written.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Excuse me, I failed to mention that Councilmember Thomas did ask for to be excused tonight, so that's why we have just the 4 members here tonight. Okay, I'll go ahead and bring it back then to the council to make any type of municipal announcements or community events going on. So with that, does anyone have any announcements? Did you?
Thank you, Mayor. From the Parks and Rec Department in the city, a couple activities coming up in the coming weeks. First of all, tomorrow evening will be the second to last fest of the season. Hard to believe the summer's coming to an end. School kids know that, obviously, but 5:30 to 9:30 p.m., food trucks, shopping from vendors, live entertainment, and a movie at the amphitheater as well. So go bring the family to the Constitution Circle, get some dinner, be entertained, and then bring the family over for a movie at 7 p.m. at the amphitheater. Mufasa will be playing this week. So again, 2 weeks left, so the next 2 Fridays. Also coming up September 12th, will be the Park After Dark, great activity for families. That will also be in Constitution Circle here, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. A lot of different activities for the family, s'mores. So bring the kids to get sticky, and they'll be great. It'll be a great activity. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple of announcements also for the city. So Layton Communities That Care is our coalition, our community coalition that focuses on drug, alcohol, and suicide prevention in youth. And so we have a couple of things coming up. One is our Strengthening Families program. This is for parents and youth ages 10 to 14. This is a free program. It includes dinner and child care for children ages 1 through 9. These classes will begin on September 18th, and they will go through November 6th. And they'll be held this fall at Mountain View Elementary, which is here in Layton. They'll be from 6 to 8:30 p.m. This is a class that helps to build stronger relationships in families, improve relationships with your children, just all kinds of things that help us to build connection more with our young people. There's also a Born to Succeed Youth Summit that we're partnering with North Davis Communities That Care. This is on Saturday, October 11th from 10 to 2. It'll be held at North Davis Junior High School, which is in Clearfield. It is for youth grades 9 through 12. This is a free summit, and they're going to have lots of workshops. They'll have food, lunches for them. They'll also have a U credit makeup, so if any students have U's that they need to have removed, they have 1 credit available. And the speaker is going to be Braxton Nielsen. He is a speaker who we heard at the summit in Bryce Canyon. He is a bull rider, and he is very inspirational. Went to Weber State and has a really great story. So if you know of any young people who could participate in that, both of those, you can go to dbhutah.org to register for free. And then I just have 2 more quick announcements. I wanted to let everybody know that this Saturday is the last showing for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is being performed at OPA, and you can get your $5 tickets using Thanks Ramp, which is the promo code for our ramp commission. And then lastly, Davis County Health Department has launched an online tool to help community members find resources in one place, and it's called Davis Links, Links, and you can go to davislinks.org to access this. This resource is for all of us in our county and has lots of great information and resources. So if you know of anybody who's just looking for anything that's happening in the community, if they need health resources, if they need any type of resources, they can access davislinks.org. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments? Or, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that, so that our folks know that what's happening around us. Typically, we'd go on to our item number 3, which is a verbal petition and presentation. And I think tonight what I'd like to do, I know that the Wynn family has not been able to join us yet, so I'm going to pass over this item and possibly postpone it, depending, should they show up. But so let's go ahead and move on to item number 4, which is our citizens' comment portion of our meeting. So if anyone's here to address the council, you're more than welcome to stand up to the podium. Please state your name, and just know that it will not be a debate, but they'll certainly take notes. So thank you.
My name is Reed Sorensen. Do you need an address? Nope. Okay, it's my understanding that the Layton Police current philosophy is that our officers will not participate in workplace raids conducted by the ICE organization. That's the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. If Layton Police were to participate in workplace raids, it would undermine citizens' trust of the police, and I want to maintain that trust. I think we should consider documenting the current philosophy into a formal policy. A clearly written policy could enhance could enhance our current good efforts. A written policy could serve as a critical tool for police to navigate the complex relationship with ICE by upholding legal obligations, by protecting citizens' rights, and by fostering trust within Layton. I propose that we ask, or perhaps re-ask, or revisit some questions such as 4 that I've identified. Number 1, would a written and trained policy strengthen Layton's autonomy and Layton's position to push back on ICE bullying? 2, do we have the time and money to write and train a policy? Should we give it priority? Do we have bandwidth to do that? 3, will ICE continue its heavy-handed tactics of the past 6 months, or will the problem just go away? And fourth, would documenting the current Layton police philosophy cause Layton to miss out on federal funds because we might appear to be uncooperative? So there's a bunch of things you can consider about doing this. Let's have a strategy. Do we lay low? Do we appease? What signals do we want to send, and how do we want to send them? The future is unknown, but we will be best prepared to control our own posture with the ICE folks by getting the answers and then proceeding accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ryan Andresen. All right. So I stand before you today to defend a principle so fundamental that it lies at the heart of our Constitution, the right of every citizen to sanctuary within our own homes, and more specifically, within the most sacred room of our home, that's our bedroom. As we begin each council meeting, we pause for prayer. We recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Those are not empty rituals. They're affirmations of the values that guide our community. Among those values is the principle as old as civilization itself: love thy neighbor. It asks us to respect the rights, dignity, and sanctity around us. Imagine, if you will, a lion in his den. The den is the lion's sanctuary, the place where it's most vulnerable, yet so empowered to protect itself. To confront a lion is an act of courage, yes, but also an acknowledgement of the sanctity of the space it inhabits. Now I want you to transpose the imagery of that to an American citizen. The bedroom is the lion's den, the most innermost sanctum of privacy. When government forces intrude onto this space, whether by shining an intrusive light, guess we don't have the officer here, or the government places a surveillance device or otherwise encroaching, they are not merely observing, they are bearding the lion in his den. They are crossing a threshold that every citizen expects to remain inviolable. Yet, in this instance, the city has exempted itself from the standards of being a good neighbor. Every other resident is expected to honor these standards. The city, by its exemption, places a convenience above the rights and sanctity of a citizen. The framers of our Constitution understood that the freedoms required space, personal sanctuary. The Fourth Amendment. It doesn't speak in vague generalities. It protects the right of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, papers, and effects. Right? You're an attorney, correct? Hope you understand the Fourth Amendment. The bedroom within the house is where the protection matters most. It's where citizens shed the armor of the public life, where they expect repose, reflection, and safety. To permit the government intrusion here is to permit a fundamental violation of liberty itself. This is not a philosophical abstraction. It's the intrusion of light, sound, or surveillance into the bedroom. It is coercive, and it alters the behavior, induces stress. It fills freedom of thought.
Thank you. We get it?
Yeah, I'm going to continue on. It transforms the bedroom into a haven in the public stage of unwarded observation.
Excuse me, Ryan. Typically, we only allow 3 minutes in public comment.
Okay.
When you're speaking individually.
We will
If it was
continue next
collectively
week.
as a group, then that would have been different.
We'll continue next week, or
Okay.
2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone else?
Hello, my name is Josh Goodwin. I'm here to talk to the city to see if we can establish rules around regulating and operating golf carts around the city of Layton. Obviously, golf carts are the new craze that have kind of swept across the nation, the country. And before we purchased one personally, we asked a couple officers what they would have thought, and they said it was fine. We ended up purchasing one, and we've had some issues with some kids in our neighborhoods that drive it recklessly, and others that don't. And so the cops have started cracking down on the use or what it can and can't be used for. But with Utah code, each city within the state can regulate their own laws around it. And like I said, we've talked to different cops and we've gotten yeses, we've gotten nos. So I would like to kind of just get more regulations on it so that it's not open for interpretation. So person A doesn't get something and person B gets something else, that it's open to every single person the same. Reasons that I think it would be good to have is it's a low-speed vehicle, obviously, which does minimize where you can drive it. It optimizes short-distance driving around the neighborhood or to a local grocery store for people that can't have mobility in their cars, or for older kids to help take younger kids to parks, or for even adults to take their kids just down the road to public swimming pools or anything like that. The maintenance cost is obviously less than maintaining a car, and it's just easier to access it. It improves sustainability compared to most of them coming out now are fully electric, so not only is it quieter around the neighborhood than anything else, but I mean it's also producing less fumes and everything for the environment. What I would like is in that regulations, obviously there's different cities throughout Utah that have already came and made different rules for it. I would like, an age to be determined on what age can drive. I'm thinking around 13, 14. I mean, a 14-year-old can legally work in the state. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to drive a low-speed vehicle around the neighborhood or anything like that. And then also just like OHV, because a lot of these golf carts don't classify as low-speed vehicles or golf carts anymore because they reach the above speed that they used to just be for golf cart or for golf courses. To make them take an OHV course, to teach them how to drive properly, to basically give them the same advantage that the kids on dirt bikes, ATVs, snowmobiles can already drive. And then, of course, it gives them driving practice for the future so they can become better independents, as we're seeing people get licenses later and later each year. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Michael Christians. I'll be much faster this time. Last month, my son's birthday, he asked for an electric scooter. I said, "Yeah, that seems like a good idea, similar to the golf cart." And I said, "Let's start small here. Let me buy you a gift card or a subscription or a payment for a Lime cycle to try those out." So we looked into it and pull up the map. Lo and behold, you can ride them in Clearfield, you can ride them in Syracuse, you can ride them on Hill Air Force Base, but there's a big geofence around Layton City and all the other cities where it's outside their service area. This was a Thursday afternoon. I was doing this research. I said, that's a little weird. I have to look into that. I've learned more since then. The very next morning, it was a Friday morning. I was driving up 2200 West from my home in West Layton to go to work. It was about 7:45 in the morning. And I see a young man, probably between the age of 16 and 22, couldn't really tell, in a white shirt and tie walking down the side of the road. And I thought, wow, the missionaries are out a little early this morning, but there's only one of them. And so I didn't think much of it, kept driving down the road another 3 blocks until I crossed over the railroad tracks, and there it was, a Lime cycle that had been abandoned by this young man, who was now walking through the heat of a July day, probably trying to get to a job interview. I don't know why anyone else in that age group would be wearing a white shirt and tie walking alone down 2200 West on a Friday morning. But I believe the city needs to revisit that policy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's none, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our consent items this evening. We do have one consent item that will be presented before the council at this time. And we have Lieutenant Clint Bobowski that's going to present an interlocal agreement.
Mayor and Council, Resolution 25-42 pertains to the proposed interlocal agreement between Layton City, Clearfield City, Clinton City, North Salt Lake City, Sunset City, Syracuse City, and Davis County in order to formalize the relationship of the entities participating in the North Davis Metro SWAT Team. The interlocal agreement updates the current one by adding the Davis County Sheriff's Office to the SWAT team, formalizing a budget where all participating agencies contribute to the equipment and training of the SWAT team, and establishes an executive board governing the team. Staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 25-42, approving the interlocal agreement for the North Davis Metro SWAT team. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Council?
Thank you, Lieutenant, for bringing this item forth. Would you be kind just to explain how the management of this SWAT team operated before and the difference in fiscal management of what you're asking for now?
Sure. Prior to this proposed interlocal agreement, the SWAT team was maintained and managed by Layton City Police Department. As far as the funding source, each participating agency who supplied manpower purchased the equipment for their individual officers, which left Layton City purchasing, we're paying for a lot of the training as well as the disposable equipment that we use on the team. This interlocal agreement establishes the executive board. However, I am the current commander of the Layton City SWAT team, so Layton City still maintains and manages the team through me as the commander. The executive board establishes who that commander is. The current funding now, all participating agencies will provide funding into the budget, and then that's divvied up between whether they have manpower or whether they don't have any manpower and are paying an assessment fee.
Councilman Blackland?
You mentioned in the work meeting that there's kind of been a separation between the North SWAT and the South SWAT. So I was just curious, North Salt Lake is in this, and that's at the very south end of the county. Are you maybe where did that come from, and are you anticipating additional municipalities that are closer to us being a part of this as it moves forward?
I don't have any more anticipation of any other agencies joining the team at this time. As far as why North Salt Lake joined our team, Chief Black and Chief Swanson have a strong relationship. I don't know the particulars, as North Salt Lake's been a part of our SWAT team for a long time, but I would imagine it stems from the relationship with Chief Swanson and Chief Black, who's the chief with the North Salt Lake Police Department.
Okay. And, I mean, previously, as Council Member Smith Edmondson said, Chief Swanson was kind of in charge beforehand, and now from the discussion, it's been, there's one vote for one agency. And we've had some situations in the past where we have a city the size of Sunset having the same vote as the size of City of Layton. And I'm just curious, maybe if you guys have had those internal discussions and if you feel comfortable with us having maybe just a disproportionate vote, considering how maybe the resources we're putting into it.
Certainly. Where this came from, I spent about 9 years with the Davis Metro Narcotics Strike Force, 4 years as an agent, about another 4.5, 5 years as a supervisor. And so this MOU was really born from that MOU that establishes the same type of executive board. Very similar. That MOU has been in place, that structure has been in place since 2004, and Layton City has continued to run and maintain the strike force since then. So as far as the disproportionate vote, I am comfortable with it. Layton City continues to remain probably the only entity within the team that's capable of running the SWAT team. And so the chief, myself as the commander, we're very comfortable with how it's set up. The bylaws are still a working document, and it allows us to change as we continue to progress as a team.
Can I just add to that? Because I had the same conversation with the chief and expressed the same concerns. And he did express that they were very comfortable with it and they felt like the structure was good and the composition of the board, everybody understood the importance of Layton City as a member. But one thing that is in this agreement that I'm sure you saw is that we can withdraw at any time for any reason. And so if there was some sort of issue, we could just withdraw.
Okay, Councilman Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. Lieutenant, I'm also curious. You mentioned some of the cities offer up officers to serve, and then others, they are charged an assessment. They don't have enough officers to help out. Could you explain the makeup of the team currently, or how it's going to look?
Yeah,
how many
absolutely.
officers do we have? In which cities have assessments and not officers?
Sure. And I don't mean to correct you, council member. It's just it's not that they don't have enough officers to submit to the SWAT team. Selection on the SWAT team is a significant selection process. Our team goes through a 2-day selection process. If you make it through that as a qualified candidate, you go through a week-long what we call a SWAT school here within our team. And then after that, you go through a 100-hour SWAT certification course in 6 days. So 100 hours of work in 6 days. And so you have to complete all 3 of those things to be selected to become a member on the SWAT team. And so it's not necessarily that they don't have enough manpower. It's just sometimes officers that comprised of those departments aren't ready to meet those standards. We've seen officers from all of our participating agencies try out for SWAT. Just some of them haven't been able to make it yet. So again, I don't mean to correct you. I just wanted to clarify that,
That's
we're not
good
saying
to know.
we're better than one agency. It's just it's a difficult process to get selected to the SWAT team. And we want to continue to maintain that because I think you as council members and our citizens that we support have a high expectation of an officer that is on the SWAT team and what we're responsible to do. So as far as your second question, the current makeup of the team, Layton City has the most members on the SWAT team. So we have 16 Layton City police officers and then 4 Layton City firefighters who are tactical medics. And then next we have 1 officer from Davis County. We have 1 officer from North Salt Lake. We have 3 officers from Clearfield City and 1 officer from Clinton City. And so I know there's a long list, so that leaves Sunset and Syracuse, who currently do not have officers on the team. And so they are paying an assessment fee that goes to support our equipment and our training.
After that explanation, we should all appreciate a SWAT member more than ever. I mean, not that we don't appreciate our officers, but geez. And the commander, yeah. I mean,
Appreciate it.
yeah, that was a good explanation. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, then council, I'll bring this back to you for action.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 25-42, this interlocal cooperation agreement for the North Davis Metro SWAT team.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on down to our public hearing portion of our meeting, and it's regarding a rezone request, and Mr. Weston Apolloni will be presenting that information to us.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to be with you tonight. Before you tonight is a rezone request located at the northwest side of Highway 193 and North Hills Drive. You can see it on the map here in red. There's a zoomed in photo of this. The applicant who's here tonight is also the property owner, Matthew Reed. He's requesting the rezone from CH to M1. The applicant is requesting this. He operates the business elevated property maintenance, which is a contractor storage yard. You can see the equipment that's stored outside. It was identified that there are compliance issues with this property, and to bring this into complete compliance would be going through a rezone process and then establishing the screening requirements for the contractor storage yard outside, and then updating the landscaping to make sure it's compliant with the landscaping requirements. We've been actively working with the business owner, and he's been very cooperative. This was, well, I should say this first. The general plan does identify this property as planned for manufacturing, and so zoning it to M1 is compliant with the general plan. The Planning Commission did review this on July 22nd and unanimously voted to forward a recommendation of approval to the council to rezone from CH to M1. Staff supports the recommendation of the Planning Commission. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, council, do you have any questions before we open it up?
Just one there.
Sure.
Is the front of is the barbecue place still? And then
It's still there, and it'll stay there.
And this is the back part of
This will be the back part.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Thanks.
Excuse me, sir. You're out. Sorry, I don't want to call you out of order. I failed the first time, but let's proceed, and you'll be able to speak here in a minute at a public hearing. Okay. Did you get your question answered, right? Okay. Do we have any others? Councilman?
Just one. This question was brought up in the work meeting. I was going to ask, and Councilmember Bloxham asked it, but the question was how this even rezone came about, if it was because the owner decided to make this change, or was it based out of some kind of non-compliance?
This came through code compliance, which required the applicant to submit a business license, and through the review of that, it was identified that they couldn't operate the way they're operating under that zone. And so it was through working with the business owner and staff, recognizing that a rezone to M1 would be sufficient with the additional screening and landscaping that I previously mentioned.
So it was because the property owner put in a new business license application?
It was code compliance that recognized it. That was
Okay,
the issue.
great.
That's where it started.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, then I need a motion to open the public hearing regarding our rezone request.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing is now open, so if anyone wishes to address us or comment on this item, you're more than welcome to. Once again, step up to the podium and state your name. Okay. Seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the council then for action regarding our rezone request. Council, I'll need you to close the public hearing and then go ahead and state the ordinance, if you could.
Madam Mayor, I move that we close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 25-20.
Okay. It's been moved in second that we adopt ordinance 25-20. Being that it's a public hearing, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. We'll start down here with Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
Councilman Bloxham.
I'd just like to explain, I appreciate the business owner being here. Appreciate, it sounds like you had a good relationships and discussions with the city. I just appreciate that very much. It's kind of hard to come by sometimes, so we appreciate you doing that. And with that, I vote yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Smith Edmondson.
I also vote aye, and wanted to just highlight that with these rezone changes, the fact that the general plan does identify this as M1 in the future. This is right in line with what we have already looked at as a city and want to happen. So I vote aye. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, there you have it. It's unanimous. So thank you very much for applying and also following the rules. Okay, that's item number 6. Council, do you have any unfinished business you want to present? If not, that's pretty much the last item on our agenda tonight, and I could entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved, and I will acknowledge that. We do not have to vote on it, so I want to just thank everyone for being here tonight. And once again, I appreciate the residents and their input, and just be safe. Thank you.